Wade and Greg getting cervezas at the beach bar. It's absolutely beautiful right now. Oh,
Tamarindo, Costa Rica.
So let's just like have a conversational through kind of this whole trip. So where are we right now?
We're in Tamarindo, Costa Rica, which is on the west coast, about halfway down on the map.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Like we drove here to a beach town, and we drove through like nature and farms, and you see like where people live here and the suburbs here in the countryside.
Gracias.
Oh, thank you. We got passion fruit margaritas.
Sir,
Happy hour, right?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So we're here, and we were just thinking through how this trip for us is obviously for us to see this part of the world and experience the culture, but also to reflect, right, on life. Like, it's so easy to be in the day-to-day, like hustle bustle, the week to week.
It's important as business owners to get out of the weeds sometimes, and we just finished our like detail season on Monday.
Tax. So Greg's a CPA, his own CPA firm.
It's very important just to think about working on the business instead of in the business, and you got to do it, in my opinion, at least twice per year, and think about what are the big things you want to do in the next 12 months. So I was at a conference all weekend here with other entrepreneurs before Wade came.
So he's at like a mastermind, right? How many of you?
Mastermind.
8? 10?
About 10. And the
10
topic was
people.
Overcoming adversity in business, right? We get hit with things every day. How do you not let the important balls drop? So learned a lot this weekend. Now Wade and I are just kind of masterminding here, like what's next in business, and just taking a step back from the day-to-day for a week.
Yeah, and so what's cool about that is like Greg was in a formal mastermind where there's kind of two coaches that kind of bring in some level of wisdom.
Shout out Jackie Meyer and Chuck Bauer.
And shout out the mentors, and they bring in some level of mentorship and wisdom. Here's what they bring to the table. They bring some mentorship, but then they bring like 8 of you guys or 10 of you guys together that are kind of thought leaders in the industry that want to learn from each other, that want to learn strategies, that want to break out from in the day-to-day. You might be doing some level of tax prep or planning, or your team's doing accounting, or you're managing 20 people on your team. That's what you have to do the day-to-day, but you also have to step back and think about like big vision strategy. As you, the CEO or the owner, is like, where are we going as a firm? What are different strategies we can use and implement? So being in a mastermind is like a think tank, right? Where 10 people coming together create this actual like super brain, right? Of different ideas and different stuff you can apply to businesses. So that was that. And then Greg and I talked about coming and masterminding like just us and getting out of the day-to-day, where I might be working with people day-to-day. I might be doing a lot of calls. I might be doing sales. I might be team building, whatever I'm doing. You have to do that, but every once in a while you got to step back and reflect, not only on your business, but on your life too. Like, what do I want? Where am I going in the next 6 months, in the next year? And then also what it does, you see different parts of the world and it revitalizes you, and you come home like ready to get back into your day-to-day.
Different perspective too, different culture, different perspective. It's really important to learn how other people live. So we've had a great time here, great local culture here, highly recommend it.
What would you say, because you do a good amount of like travel and you have virtual, so you're able to travel and you can do it from wherever, which I think is a great part of this day and age, but how often would you say you step away to work? We'll call it on the business first, then the business. When we say on the business, you're like, think about it, you're 10,000 feet looking down at your business. This is vision, it's strategy, it's what's next, it's evaluating where you're at and where you're going without getting into the weeds. So how often would you say you do that?
Probably do it quarterly. Try to do it quarterly, either trip or at least step out of the office once a quarter and meet coffee shop anywhere, but just change your environment up once a quarter, and just take at least a day, if not 2 or 3 days to do it, and I think you'll see results from that.
There's something too of getting into some level of nature, a different environment, an environment away from the hustle bustle that allows you to, there's a lot of clarity and stillness too, where when all of a sudden we woke up this morning, we have this beautiful view, and there's not all this commotion around us. It's just us. Whatever we want to do is start our morning. You might meditate or read, or you might just reflect. You might think. And you do find a lot of answers and clarity. People are always looking for answers and clear and what's next for them. And we think it's by just going more and working harder and doing more things. What it really is that stepping back. It's that like finding some level of calm and inner peace and stillness in yourself. And when that happens, you open up kind of the pathways to more clarity, to what's next for you. And all of a sudden, that's where you get that intuitive, that gut feeling, that thought, that idea, that aha moment that strikes you, and you're like, oh my gosh. And then that's where you bring that home to go implement, to go do and do the action and do the activity.
One of the big things we learned this week at our mastermind was implementation is the biggest thing. So whatever that one thing you can do, you got to take action and do it.
Yeah.
A lot of times we all get stuck in this paralysis of not starting, or not finishing. So we start all things, not finish them. So I think the big thing for us, my takeaway from this weekend was going home and implementing one idea that I took away.
Yeah.
And see where it brings us.
And there's, at a mastermind, you might get a lot of ideas. It's intuitively gut feeling and then thoughtfulness, like what is right. And let me get home and take action on it right away, the implementation. Because when you start to take even just a small step, not coming and totally doing something crazy and huge, it's just like, what's the next step you can start taking once you get home? Because then you start to implement it, it starts to cement it in and starts to become a part of the business, a part of your life, whatever it is. So this is like, we're here this week, it's funny, on a Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
I never would have been able to do this in my prior career, and now we're here, we're business owners, and we're able to come and do this and reflect and work on the business, which is important when you are an owner or CEO, or you are responsible for the go forward of the company. You need to be thinking quarters, years ahead of time, right? Not just in the Monday through Friday.
Cheers.
That's a wrap. Cheers. Last thought, pura vida. That's
Pura
like
vida.
good life in
Pure
Costa
life.
Rican, pure life. Till next time.